All right, guys, got a bunch of breaking news here that I wanted to share with you. So, first of all, we just got word that Netanyahu is now officially set to speak at Congress on July 24th. So, that required the agreement of the leadership of both parties. Chuck Schumer agreed to it. He released the most Weasley statement I've ever read in my life, like, oh, I have many disagreements with the prime minister, but because of our enduring relationship with Israel, we're going to listen to his speech. As I saw Medea Benjamin of Code Pink, she tweeted that there's going to be massive, massive protests in D.C. that day. And man, I hope that's true. I hope they can flood the streets with like 1 million people, because the fact of the matter is, and you all know this already, but he's a literal genocidal war criminal, right? Like the death toll is preposterous in Gaza, and the attacks on civilian infrastructure are literally endless. Like the point is to murder civilians, women, and children. And the fact that anybody in DC is pretending like that's not the case is an insult to all of our intelligence. And, the reality is literally all of them pretend like that's not the case. They all pretend like ignore your eyes and your ears and all the evidence, and we're going to pretend like to the extent that there's any disagreement, it's a gentleman's disagreement, and maybe they've made some mistakes, but, they mean well. Fucking nonsense, man. I hope everybody absolutely hits the streets and just makes it like impossible for him to even speak. I want the story from that day not to be any dumb bullshit he says in his speech, because we already know what he's going to say anyway. I want the story from that day to be that the American people like showed up in colossal numbers to say, hey, fuck you. We view you as akin to Hitler. Because at this point, that's what it is. And honestly, if you disagree with that, you're just wrong. Like, I don't know how else to get it across. You're just fucking wrong. The guy is the modern day Hitler. Full stop. So that's some big news. I'm absolutely disgusted at the fact that this guy is coming to speak. My tax money and your tax money going to fund this government that has this fucking guy come to speak. This guy. Like, what is there to say, man? I mean, I honestly... This is going to be controversial, but you ready for this? I think it would be less bad inviting like fucking Vladimir Putin to speak at Congress. I said it. There you go. I said it. I think it would be less bad to invite the fucking Grand Ayatollah to come speak in Congress. Now, I don't want Putin to speak there, and I don't want the Grand Ayatollah to speak there. I'm good with having no leaders of any other countries going to speak there. But this guy's literally the worst on the planet. I don't know how else to get it through to you. 16,000 children dead, 10,000 women dead, 38,000 civilians dead. They bomb hospitals, schools. They're starving an entire group of people. I feel like I'm going crazy here that not everybody's acknowledging this. Okay, anyway, I'm going to hop off this topic. All right, I got a lot more breaking news for you. So, Israel, Human Rights Watch reported that Israel yet again, used white phosphorus in South Lebanon on civilians. In fact, according to Kenneth Roth, the former head of Human Rights Watch, Israeli forces used illegal white phosphorus, chemical weapon, in at least 17 municipalities across southern Lebanon since October of 2023. And in at least 5 of those, it was used specifically, purposefully in civilian areas. So, yet again, they're escalating. Will we be looking at a full-scale war between Hezbollah and the IDF very soon? It's absolutely possible, man. It's absolutely possible. So I also wanted to share that apparently the UN put Israel on some sort of a blacklist. Israeli security officials were told that Israel will be added to the UN blacklist of countries that harm children in conflict zones. The final signature is expected next week. The UN blacklist could harm arms supplies to Israel as well as hurt its diplomatic relations. The resolution would be valid for 4 years. So, I mean, that's good news. Yet again, I hope we're getting closer and closer to complete and utter isolation of Israel. Treat them as the rogue state that they are. Everybody should cut off all financial and economic ties with them. You need to treat them like apartheid South Africa to basically force them to not be genocidal criminals, and also bring the war crimes charges, right? Um, we also got the news that the IDF bombed al-Mawasi, which is west of Rafah. That's another area, yet again, that was announced as a safe zone, and Israel started bombing it after saying it was a safe zone. Israel also said that it bombed a school, a different school in Gaza, which they are claiming is a Hamas compound. Shock, shock. So add it to the list. I know we're at damn near 30 hospitals that have been bombed. I don't even know off the top of my head how many schools, but I know they did planned demolitions of all the universities in Gaza. Make of that what you will. Doesn't sound very defensive in nature. Doesn't sound like a hunt for Hamas now, does it? Shockingly, the NAACP is actually calling for a permanent ceasefire and for Biden to, quote, draw the red line and indefinitely end the shipment of weapons and artillery to Israel. I was shocked by this because the NAACP, for those of you who don't know, they're very establishment. They do not rock the boat. They are corporate and milquetoast all day long. I don't know why they found their spine here. I have no idea why they did the right thing. But frankly, I don't care. I'm just very, very happy that they did the right thing. Get this, guys. The former Israeli Supreme Court president, Aharon, or maybe that's just pronounced Aaron, I don't know, Barak, has resigned as a judge at the International Court of Justice, citing personal and family reasons. So this is kind of sketchy, right? Because this guy, I think he ruled against Israel recently. And now all of a sudden he's stepping down for personal and family reasons. Again, I don't want to get too conspiratorial here. This is pure speculation and pure opinion, but I don't know. Sounds like one of those things like they did with Blackstone and like they allegedly did with others, where it's like they have intelligence operations and they get dirt on people and then they arm twist. It's like, you're going to step down because you're not doing our bidding. I would not be surprised in the slightest if that was the case in that instance. I'm sure you guys have seen these pictures from Jerusalem. There was this march going on with a bunch of illegal, ultra-Orthodox, extremist settlers, and there are these crazy pictures coming out where you see like a single member of the press standing there and like on the brink of being attacked by a giant mob of extremist Zionists. And the pictures were so bad and so disturbing that even the German ambassador to Israel, remember, Germany has been super cucked to Israel for obvious reasons, by the way, if you look at their history, right? But the German ambassador to Israel came out, tweeted one of those pictures and said, "Scenes like this from Jerusalem today do not speak of the deep spiritual connection to the city that Jews have felt for thousands of years. They speak of blind hate that these kids have been taught." So now, historically, this is what was always said about Palestinian kids. Oh my God, they teach them to hate, and that's the problem, and et cetera, et cetera. Now people are beginning to accurately and correctly recognize that this is the case in Israel. This is the case in Israel. And in fact, the polls bear it out that the younger generation of Israelis is far more extreme than the older generation of Israelis. I also wanted to point out while I'm here with you that Trump, he just did that interview with Fox News. Apparently, he gave some more commentary on Israel. He said that Israel needs to finish bombarding Gaza more quickly. He says that unnamed people are telling him the October 7th attack never happened. And he laments that the Israel lobby is not powerful enough. And even Chuck Schumer, quote, has become like a Palestinian. So yet again, this is Donald Trump pivoting to Joe Biden's right on Israel and saying he will suck up to Israel more. He will do their bidding more. Unsurprising. He's been doing this for quite a while now. And then finally, I'll end you with these two things here. Number one, some Israelis were caught chanting "Death to Arabs" as thousands participated in a nationalist march through a Palestinian area of Jerusalem. That's the same place where the pictures came out that I just talked about, the extremist Zionists, nearly assaulting a member of the press. They were chanting "Death to Arabs." The annual event marks Israel's capture of East Jerusalem in 1967 and is stoking tensions as the Israel-Hamas war rages. So, death to Arabs. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like we are being defensive and we must defeat Hamas. Death to Arabs is what they were chanting. Sit on that for a little bit. And then finally, so the Israeli finance minister, who's been one of the worst guys all along, Bezalel Smotrich, there's a video of him dancing in Jerusalem's Old City, singing that now infamous song of revenge and annihilation, including a phrase of, quote, effacing their names from the earth. So there's a genocidal anthem that's gone viral there that's now like a huge song. And he was dancing and singing that, as as everybody's saying, death to Arabs, hooray. But don't worry, it's just a war, it's just it's not a genocide. It's not a genocide. Anyway, disgusted by all this and extra disgusted at the fact that now Netanyahu's going to be fucking forced down our throats. He's going to come here to give a speech. Get the fuck out of my country. Get the fuck out of my country. We should cut off all the money. We should cut off all the weapons. We should drop the war crimes charges right now. We should lock his fucking ass up. Same with Ben Gvir. Same with Smotrich. Same with all the Israeli generals. We should sanction the shit out of them. And we're just getting started in that conversation, man. This is so far beyond just like, they're making mistakes or they're going, in the wrong direction. No, this is like, you guys are fucking historic criminals, and history will judge this moment very, very severely. So we all need to ask ourselves, where was our voice in a moment like this?